guys, welcome back to a brand new episode on the CollegeCrafts YouTube channel. Today we're going to be building a nightstand because, well, we don't have an alarm clock and we've been using our Echo to wake us up, and it just hasn't really worked out with everybody because to turn it off we would be shouting across the room and then that would wake up all of our roommates, and it's just not the best for everybody. Now, when we were designing it, we wanted it to match this headboard that we made so that the colors don't clash. And well, yeah, so let's design it. And using some cheap tools and completely free materials, let's build this thing. The first thing that we did to build the nightstand was create the legs. We did that by grabbing our favorite material, pallet boards, because it's free, removing the boards from each other, and the board that we picked for the legs, as you can see, has a little rib inside of it. So we took a pencil and a straight edge and marked off the material that would include the rib inside of it. Then taking a circle saw, we followed the line so that we had a perfect 2" by 2" square dowel that would be used as the leg of the nightstand. And we did this 4 times for the 4 legs of the table. We cut them down to our desired length of 29 inches, and then using a planer and a sander, we leveled them off and got rid of all the dirt, grime, and paint that was on the wood. While we were sanding, we were making sure to round off the edges so that there were no sharp corners for anybody to cut themselves on. The next thing to do was create the bracers for the nightstand. We wanted the overall dimensions to be square, 17 inches by 17 inches, and we did that by grabbing some of the pallet boards and marking them under 17 inches so that both legs would go up the sides of them, and then with that the final dimensions would be 17 by 17. And after cutting the pallet boards, we planed and sanded the boards flat and made them look more presentable. We wanted the top and middle brace to be thinner than the bottom brace, so we saved one of the thicker boards for the bottom brace and split a couple of the boards down the middle so that it could be the top and middle, and then started making the frame of the nightstand. We put the top thin plank flush with the end of the legs, and then we put the second thin piece 7 inches from the bottom of the top thin plank, and then we measured 3 inches from the ground to the bottom of the base brace. We attached them by pre-drilling a hole, gluing them together, and then using 3-inch screws, we screwed them together, 1 screw per thin board per side, and on the baseboard we used 2 screws per side, screwing from the legs into the braces. We did this to 2 of the sides, and then using 4 more thin boards and 2 more thicker boards, we connected the 2 halves together, forming the frame of the nightstand. And we were being very careful to make sure everything was constantly level and flat throughout the entire time, because this is a nightstand that we are hoping to keep for a very long time, so we needed to look the best that it can and function the best it can. While on the topic of aesthetics, we wanted to make sure that it didn't look as rustic as pallet boards typically do because of all the holes from previous nails that were in it. So we took some oak colored wood filler and filled in the holes that were in the pallets. Once it dried, we sanded it so that it was nice and flat all the way around, with a much less rustic look to completely finish off the frame of the nightstand. Now at this point we should have stained the frame so that it wouldn't be such a struggle later, as you will see later on, because we have a light and dark base stain that we will be combining to match the colors of the headboard for our bed. But we decided to move right on to making the shelves for the nightstand. We accomplished this by taking an 8-foot long pallet board and once again planing and sanding. I kept the board whole this time because it was far faster for me to sand and plane an entire board than each individual one, and then we cut it to the length that we needed to fit, in this case, the middle shelf for the nightstand, which was 17 inches minus the width of the bracers. I did have to strip one of the boards so that it would be a little bit thinner, so 2 of the boards would fit on either side with the thinner one in the middle, making it look a little bit more symmetrical. I cut 2 square notches into 2 of the boards so that the legs would fit in and there wouldn't be any gaps on the shelf. I clamped some scrap wood to the middle bracers to act as a spacer for when I put the boards that'll be the middle shelf onto it, and then used some 1 1/4 inch screws to attach them to the bracers and make the first shelf on the nightstand. making sure that all the boards were flush and level with each other. Then I went to the top of the nightstand doing all the same techniques as I did for the middle, except for this one there's going to be a 1/2 inch overhang. So I took 3 wider boards and then cut a thinner one until there was a 1/2 inch overhang widthwise, and then split that one down the middle so that a thin piece will be on both sides of the nightstand. And then for the base shelf, all you need to do is follow the same steps as you did for the middle shelf, and then you should have a completed nightstand minus the stain. So obviously you have to stain it, which we decided to make the lighter stain the shelves, and we made the darker stain the frame and the legs, and we were extremely careful not to stain the pieces that weren't supposed to be stained a certain color the other color. Like I said earlier, just stain the frame and boards beforehand. Well, there you guys have it. Our brand new nightstand completely finished. Now, I know the decorations might throw you guys off because it's still Halloween, but in my defense, as of recording this, it is the day after Halloween, and I know that with editing and stuff and my timeline with work and school is going to push that a little bit back. Honestly, that's why we haven't been coming out with as much videos, but hey, it came out. So as you can see, we stained it to the same exact stain as the headboard that we made, and it just fits in really nicely. We got our echo right there so that we can just talk at it, and we've been using it for a couple of days now, and it's just worked flawlessly. Obviously, this is a very simple build, and using 100% pallets, completely free for us, besides the screws and stain, which in total only cost us about like $5 maybe. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.